Welcome to the Daily Brief. This is being prepared Monday, September 19th, where I'll go over the highlights of what happened in Monday's session and then see how things look briefly for Tuesday, September 20th. And I do have a full-length video that is posted if you want to go back and look at the charts and hear more discussion of what I'm talking about. But let's go back and talk about what happened at the open on Monday. We did have a gap lower at the open, and we went down to S1 at 38.47, and we went down to Friday's low. Now, that's a short-term positive thing that we did not go below Friday's low. We actually launched up higher from that. So I know it's not that big of a deal, but we kind of have to really look for positive things right now, and that was one positive thing. Prices then rose almost to R1 at 38.90, but then as the day went on, we just drifted above and below the unchanged level. And this is not surprising. We've got a lot of economic reports coming out, especially as they apply to housing. And then we have the Fed meeting on Wednesday with their decision and press conference. So a lot of people are hesitant about taking on really big positions, either long or short, ahead of those things happening, because you're gambling with that. Going into the close, we did see some late day buying, which took prices back to R1. And this is the positive thing that I really brought out in the full length video. We saw that on Friday, where most of the decline was overnight in the futures and the markets bounced around. And then we saw a surge of late day buying. That's the smart money coming in. Well, we saw the same thing in Monday's session, where we gapped lower, pretty much chopped above and below the unchanged level, started to fall, and then near the end of the session, we saw some buying coming back in. And that's why what I teach in my program is wait as close to the close as you can to get into a trend-based position and have it be in the direction of the strategy that you're trying to implement. And we're seeing that played out. Now, will that continue? We don't know, but we've seen that happen 2 days in a row now, where things are looking a little more positive than negative because of the late day buying. We did close at the high. That's another positive thing. We were up 0.69%. We need a lot more percent to get back for some of our daily charts to show some improvement. Volume did drop back to below average. So that is a little bit of a concern, but not necessarily a surprise because of the uncertainty that's going on right now. The technicals, they're still negative overall, but we're seeing some little pockets of improvement. There were some slight areas of improvement after Friday, and there were some additional slight areas of improvement after Monday. But the markets are still fixated on inflation and interest rates, which are producing growth concerns. We're not really debating about the recession right now, but we will get a lot of Fed speak going back and forth, especially on Wednesday. So what can we say? The last two sessions have seen early weakness with late day buying. That could be positive. The S&P is almost back to 3,900. It's just a few ticks below that right now. The technical picture, it's tentatively improving. Now, we have a down day. It's going to wipe all that out, but we're seeing some areas of improvement right now. The 30 to the 5, the 10 to the 2, the 10 to the 5, those are still inverted as far as their yield curves. Sentiment is still tipping more towards the fear side, but not really extreme. We had the NAHB housing market index come out. It actually came out weaker than expected. It came out at 46. It was below 50, which shows a lack of confidence. They expected it to be at 48, which is still below 50, but this was weaker than what they thought it would be. Our trend is still negative, and we're just ever so slightly below 20 with the ADX. The ADX and the moving average are pretty much on top of each other right now. The bias, I've switched back over to mixed, and because of the few little positive things that I'm seeing right now. Now, that could quickly get wiped out. We've got to see follow through with price. We have to close higher and stronger and see more follow through that we're not seeing yet. But because of these other positive things, we just kind of want to keep those in mind, where our momentum still continues to be negative. So what's our outlook then for Tuesday? The technicals are negative, but there are areas that are showing improvement. We have housing starts and building permits coming out. These are leading indicators. So they'll tell us what the housing market is going to look like into the future. we have the whole list of geopolitical events, and it's pretty much the same, but the one that the markets are fixated on is the inflation and interest rate scenario. And then, speaking of scenarios, we still kind of have to go with the down scenario because of all the negativity that we're seeing in our charts and all the headwinds that are hitting the market. But you may not want to latch onto that too much unless we really start to break down. The technicals are improving and showing some slight improvement. And we don't really want to do anything on the short side or the negative side until we see some of those support levels broken or things turn more negative. We certainly can't go with the up scenario right now, although there is some improvement. Our scenarios, those are all on hold right now. The technicals are just not suggesting anything positive currently, other than the little things that I talked about in the full length video. We still would have a tendency to go with the sideways trend because the ADX is slightly below 20 and the red line's on top, so we default to the negative side. So our conclusion then is the S&P is negative overall. Short and intermediate term, it's still negative, but there are some pockets of improvement. Long term, we're still negative. So thank you. Please look at the full length video to get more of an explanation. Have a great day, and I will talk to you again after Tuesday's session.